Good morning, everyone. I'm Azizi, and as Miguel introduced just now, my main discipline is accounting information systems, but I have a strong passion for innovation, technology, and entrepreneurship, and being involved in several IT projects over the last 2 decades. I would consider myself as a half-cook IT guy, not an expert. Um, can we go to the second slide on the presentation outline? These are the things that I'm going to share in about 15 minutes, I hope. So basically, we know that people say investment in technology has changed our life. And it is amazing to see how these technologies have changed the way we work, live, and probably the way we behave. But the questions are, in regards to IT students in particular, how do we prepare our students? Normally, in universities, we teach them or they learn about IT or AI, and they may also learn with IT or AI, but that is another story. The question is, do we sufficiently teach them about innovation so that they can apply whatever knowledge and skills that they have that can benefit the society? And the second question is that where do they go or work after their graduation? And I believe majority of them will work in the industry or IT companies. Some will become innovators, and hopefully a few of them will become entrepreneurs or technopreneurs. So I believe that is the objective of this program on how we can turn our IT graduates into entrepreneurs. And if you go to the next slide, I believe most of you are IT experts, but let me share how I view IT from a layman perspective. I look at it as comprising four main components. It is about data, it's about connectivity, it's about speed, and about intelligence. And if you go to the next slide, talking about data or data source, they can come from various sources, machines, social transactionals, and we consider that data is as gold. And but despite, if you go to the next slide, despite many breakthroughs in the computing power, technologies as they are mere tools. So how can we make them useful only when they solve problems? And importantly, to serve humanity at scale, meaning that to make it as a good business, there is a need for innovation, and a disruptive business model must be built around the technology. So how can we make use of the big data and the computing power, the intelligent part of it, to solve problems? So there are, must be a reciprocal approach. First is that students and lecturers, I would say, need to have a good understanding of the issues or the problems. And secondly is to have a good understanding of the technological capabilities. Normally the later part is okay, but most IT students are not being exposed to the first part of it, the understanding of the issues, problems, the business side of it, the society part of it. So we need to bridge the gap between those two. So if you go to the next slide, but before we go into depth of how we can bridge the gap, let us briefly discuss a little bit about innovation and entrepreneurship. So what is innovation? In the context of a business, innovation is the ability to conceive, develop, deliver, and scale. It has to be scalable. A new breakthrough, either product, services, processes, or business model for adoption by consumers or customers. And technology-driven innovation refers to the development of new business model ideas. It can be processes that are enabled by new technological capabilities, such as artificial intelligence or AI. And if you go to the next slide, I share a little bit some examples of AI-driven innovation, either in the healthcare, in finance, in agriculture, manufacturing, etc. So there's a widespread of use currently in various aspects, in various industry sectors. So now let's go to the next slide. We have briefly go through a little bit about innovation, things like that. So what is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is driven by innovation. So the flow is that you have the technology that need to have the innovation element of it, and that will drive the entrepreneurship, and vice versa. That's a symbiotic, basically, relationship between entrepreneurship and innovation. Innovation provides what we call the raw materials for entrepreneurship to create new business opportunities, while at the same time, entrepreneurship is the driving force for innovation. Entrepreneurs, they are always looking for innovation, so that will push innovation on part of it. But the starting point when we're talking about entrepreneurship is to create entrepreneurs is to have a good understanding or deep understanding of human and societal problems, or what we call it as the pain points. It's not the technology itself. And one approach that has been used by some universities, like our universities, is the design thinking approach. For those who are not well versed with design thinking, you can read case study, for example, about Airbnb and many other examples. And to become a successful entrepreneurs, basically, we need more than technological knowledge and skills. And if you look at examples of great companies such as Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Tesla, even Alibaba, are actually led by entrepreneurs. Or in combination of both, such as, in Apple, we have the technical guy, Steve Wozniak, but the one who lead the company is actually Steve Jobs, who is more on who has the entrepreneurship skills. And then let's look what is, if you go to the next slide, what is disruptive business model? This is the challenging, most challenging part, about doing business, is how most startup need to create, delivers, and captures value. For any business to succeed, all those pieces need to fit perfectly. Getting the right customers, the right customer management, right distribution channels, right value proposition, right partners, right resources, right cost structure, and appropriate pricing or revenue model. So next is, the question is that how can we bridge the gap? Let's go to the next slide, the activities. This morning I had a discussion with a few lecturers from our computing faculty, on how we can create technopreneurs. So the starting point, as I said, is that to expose students to the business, socioeconomic, and environmental challenges. We need to make them understand the human and society's pain point, especially in the emerging markets or developing world, like Malaysia, for example, in the areas of farming, wealth, health, transportation, and many others. And second is that to understand the technological capabilities, where students need to think to shift their mindset from looking at technology as from enabler to the value driver. And talking about how on teaching the AI. Generative AI has actually triggered the emergence of AI ecosystem that leads to the creation of innovative cross-industry, industry-specific startups. So the focus on the large language model, or LLM, for students to understand what are the limitations, opportunities, and threats. So if you go to the next slide, I'm going to quickly share with you some examples. The first one is on the iLab Sunway University, which I'm currently the advisor for the Entrepreneurship, and also my own university, Ignite Venture Lab, and IBIG Center. IBIG stands for Artificial Intelligence and Big Data Center. And next is the Velocity or Spark Challenge, which I had the experience of looking into it at the University of Auckland. And there are many examples, actually, if you Google it, from Israel, China, and even Singapore. So next is, next slide. This is what we have at the UMK Ignite Venture Lab. You know, we have a brainstorming session which involve students from across faculties, various faculties, science, business, technology, and we also organize pitching sessions. You know, that those are the photos whereby students pitch their business ideas and etc. And this is the what we call it, the platform whereby students from various disciplines meet together, you know, discussing about the ideas and how they can come up with potential solutions before they can go to the next step. And next is the next slide is the Sunway iLab is one. Sunway University has in Malaysia, I believe, one of the most successful entrepreneurship program. As of now, they have came up with almost 1,000 new business ideas, and 116 startup been accelerated, and 18 out of that 117 been invested by various investors, including the university itself or the other venture capitalists. So if you go to the next slide, these are the examples that they have. The iLab Ventures, iLab Foundry, 42 KL, you know, where the students can explore various, you know, initiative in regards to the IT. And also they are working on what we call it, the agro-tech, where they have what we call Sunway X Farms. And there are various other initiative like Sunway iLab, Super Accelerator, Startup Foundry, you know, and Sunway X Farms, where the student can explore and turn the ideas into practice. And in Israel, that is one, what we call it, ADVA project, ADVA, if you like to Google it, you know, whereby the curriculum is the co-design with the industry. But the important part of it is that the hands-on projects are developed by industry experts, not the academic itself, to ensure that, you know, whatever the student learn can be applied immediately and relevant to the needs of industry. And most of the graduates are working with the tech giants. And even in China, I visited Guizhou, which is the hub of big data in China, the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Park of University Town, whereby around 12 universities, institute, polytechnics are located in one place, alongside, you know, with the industry. So there's a very strong entrepreneurship activities that is going on. So if you go to the next slide, what we need is that, you know, how we can turn ideas to fundable startup. One is to start learning by doing, you know, not just theory, but to start doing it. And also the involvement of mentors, thought leaders to provide the feedbacks to whatever ideas proposed by the students. And next, when the next level is to provide access to the to the funding and supports, you know, and also startup supports, guiding, you know, seed funding, guiding and guiding funds, etc., and also access to talents inside the universities and also with the industry partners. And next is about resources. There are three things. Simple. If you want to make it successful, you need to have a good talent, you need to have the capital, and you need to provide ecosystems. And probably I touch a little bit about the research universities. There are research universities and there are also technical universities. So the focus on basic research and applied research are very important to move a nation into an innovation-driven nation. And finally, is about the last slide, I think. This one is in Malaysia, the Academy of Science of Malaysia has came up what we call the Science, Technology, and Innovation Engineering Framework, 10 by 10 framework. There are 10 socioeconomic drivers that we can match with the science and technology drivers. So there are 10, and this is the focus of whatever research that we do in Malaysia. So next is stakeholders. The keyword as here is collaboration. Universities need to work with the industry, with the companies and research institute, innovation centers, government agencies, venture capital, and funding agencies to make things work. So I think that is probably the last one. Next. And the takeaway lesson to conclude my presentation is that technologies are mere tools. They are useful when they solve problems. To solve problems require deep understanding of the human and society's pain points and the technological capabilities. Hence, exposures to the business, socioeconomic, and environmental challenges are very important, and that must be supported by good talent, capital, and ecosystem. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'm be happy to answer it whenever I can.